You know, just when I think this whole situation can't get any worse, just when I think I've seen it all with this whole saga, for some reason, ladies and gentlemen, it continues to get worse. For some reason, ladies and gentlemen, everything about this whole saga continues to surprise me with how bad it's becoming. Marc-André Ter Stegen, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about him again. And no, ladies and gentlemen, we're not recycling the same bullshit that we've been recycling for weeks. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Every single week, there's something new, something worse coming out of this whole saga. Man like Marc-André, ladies and gentlemen, he's the gift that keeps on giving, ladies and gentlemen. Because this man, he is on a one-man mission to basically destroy any ounce of legacy he has at this club. Because, ladies and gentlemen, every single week, it seems like I'm talking about Marc-André Ter Stegen. Because he keeps on throwing his toys out of the pram, and every single week, for some reason, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Just when you think, nah, there's no way he can get any lower. No. He can. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're someone who's been living under a rock, before I even get into the new thing that he's done recently, let's just give you guys a little bit of a recap of what man like Marc-André has been up to. As you guys know, if you're someone who follows Barça, or if you're a Barça fan, you know that Marc has not exactly been Mr. Popular guy in the Barcelona in the past, I would say 3-4 years at this club. There's been a lot of fans who've had enough of Ter Stegen for seasons now. Well, the club finally had enough this season. And whatever you think of him, the thing with football is, especially when it comes to big clubs, every player moves on at some point. We've seen players who've done amazing stuff at this club, who when they were not good enough anymore, we made it very clear to them that they had no future at the club and they had to go find another club. Luis Suarez was one. The guy won a treble, one of the best strikers I've seen in my lifetime, play for Barça. When he wasn't good enough, he was shown the door. Ivan Rakitic, a very underrated signing, very underrated midfielder. When he wasn't good enough anymore, he was shown the door. And you know what's funny about these players? Every single one of these players I've just mentioned just two of them. This is just two. But those players are legends of this club. Regardless of how you feel like they were treated by the club in the end, those players, they are legends. What those players achieved and what those players did with this club will forever cement them in the eyes of all of us, the fans. But most importantly, what will cement those players as legends in our eyes is how they handled being told that they were not good enough. Did they throw their toys out of the pram? No. They understood that they play for Barça. And at a club like Barça, you gotta always be on. And if you're not on anymore, if you can't do it anymore, take a step aside. Trust me, many players have done it. Puyol retired. He didn't want to retire, but his injuries ended up making him retire because at the end of the day, he didn't want to continue getting paid by the club and not playing. He chose to do that. Xavi Hernandez, he chose to leave the club in 2015. Why? Because he knew he wasn't the same player anymore. Iniesta, he left the club on his own terms because he knew he wasn't the same Iniesta anymore. Every one of these players, they loved the club so much, they understood when their time was up. They didn't even need the club to tell them that their time was up because they decided to walk. Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, so many great players. But this is truly, ladies and gentlemen, those guys are legends. Marc-André Ter Stegen, a guy who actually played with all the players I mentioned in this list, right? Marc-André Ter Stegen, who's been at this club now for 11 years, has captain of this club. He's gotten to a point now where his time is up. And the club have tried to deal with this situation professionally. They reached out to him, they spoke to him like a gentleman, and they made it very clear, listen, it's not personal. It's just business. Your time is up. We don't feel like the club is going through a new era, a new team, and we want to go with a new goalkeeper. Marc-André Ter Stegen has decided, well, if I'm not going to be a part of the club's plans, well, guess what? I'm going to fuck everything up for this club. There will be no next generation. There will be no next era, because as long as, if I'm not a part of that era, guess what? That era is not going to exist. That era is not going to succeed without me. He decided to throw his toys out of the pram, and the first thing he did, well, he decided on the first day of training that he wasn't even going to go and train with the team. Decided to go to the gym for the first 3 days. It took the club going to approach him for him to finally open his trap and actually say, yeah, I'm actually having back pain. Didn't mention it the first 3 days that he was in training. Then decides after that he's going to go and undergo surgery, because this is a pain he's been going through for months, apparently. Months he's been going through this pain in. Which means that this guy has been going through this pain during the off season, when he could have decided to undergo the surgery, had the back surgery, and then took this time during the start of the season to recover from his back surgery. But no. He decided to undergo the surgery after he was told by the club that he was no longer a part of the club's future. And this is the best part. When he was, right before he was about to undergo a surgery, he decides to go on social media and literally tell the fans and everybody how long he's gonna be out, which basically, for people who don't understand, basically him coming out and telling everyone the duration of his injury will basically make it practically difficult for the club to not be able to register him as a long-term injury, right? And if you know anything about back injuries and back surgeries, it takes more than 3 months to have a full recovery. But he did that in a vain effort so that the club would not be able to register him as a long-term injury. He did that. And then he underwent the surgery. But now, ladies and gentlemen, just when you think it can't get any worse, Marc-André Ter Stegen has taken the next step into destroying his legacy at this club. Because this is what he's decided to do. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Your eyes don't deceive you. Breaking news. Ter Stegen refuses to allow Barcelona to send his post-surgery medical reports to La Liga's medical commission. A necessary step for the club to classify him as a long-term injury and unlock FFP space. Barcelona now open a disciplinary case, believing that his stance is damaging both his club and his teammates. So, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Marc-André Ter Stegen has decided, ladies and gentlemen, to not release his medical reports. And why is he deciding to do this? Well, very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Because due to his medical reports, if he's going to be out for 3 months, like he's mentioned, it's probably because in his medical reports, it's going to say he's likely to make 100% recovery, maybe in 5 to 6 months. And maybe Ter Stegen is trying to delay this because, let's be honest, Barcelona only have till a certain amount of time to register the players, especially the players we've signed. We only have a specific amount of time to do it. And right now, all Ter Stegen is doing is delaying the medical reports until then. Basically, now Ter Stegen is trying his best to basically shaft this club as much as he can. You know, guys, I have a lot of things that are in my mind. And I have so many things I want to say. But I don't want to get my channel taken down. Because the things that are in my mind right now, they're not good words. I can tell you that. But I'm going to tell you this, Mark. From me to you, go fuck yourself. That's really all I have to say. You are no legend of this club. You have tarnished any goodwill you have with any of the Barça fans. Because yeah, there's been a lot of Barça fans who are angry. Yes, some fans on the internet and social media mocked you. Yes, there was that video of you making all those mistakes. But you know what? There were some fans who used to back you. There were some fans who used to support you. I was one of the last people to turn on you. I remember at the beginning of last season, people telling me we needed a new keeper. I told people it wasn't that bad. I backed you. But I'm going to say this now. Mark, you are no legend. You will go down in the history of this club as a cancer, as a parasite, as a disgrace. You will never be a legend of this club. Claudio Bravo will go down as a bigger legend of this club than you, my friend. And this is not a time heals all wounds. Trust me, these wounds will never heal. And you, my friend, should be ashamed of yourself. Because this, what you've just done here, this is the ultimate level of defiance. This is the ultimate level of selfishness. You, my friend, are the captain of Barcelona, or apparently is supposed to be the captain. Captains are leaders. Xavi Hernandez, Lionel Messi, Sergio Busquets, Puyol. All of these guys in my lifetime who I've seen captain this club, a lot of them would have died for this shirt, for this badge right here that you see. Those players, they played like lions. And every single one of them, when their time was up at the club, they didn't throw a fuss. They left in the most respectful way because they loved this club. They loved this club and they knew that this club, what it stands for, Mascara el Club, ladies and gentlemen, more than a club. This is a way of life for many of us, the fans and the players who play for this club. But you, my friend, you only cared about yourself. And you are a disgrace. And you know what? Don't worry about it, because this whole saga will end. But as far as your legacy with this club is concerned, it is over. It's tarnished. It's finished. You are not a legend. And as far as the eyes of the fans is concerned, you are dead to us, right? So keep throwing your toys out of the pram. Doesn't matter. We will get these medical reports and we will end up getting things done. But as far as you're concerned, you are finished.